Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Muhi Khwaja with the Muslim Philanthropy podcast at the American Muslim Community Foundation. Today we have on Abbas Anwar from Team Liyna, and they were recognized for being outstanding volunteer fundraisers. And welcome to the show and congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Obviously it's never easy to talk about the loss of a loved one, but hopefully in the memories and in the community work and how the community organized and supported your family through the difficult times, it's a little bit easier. So first and foremost, just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, it's been a difficult time, but with everyone's encouragement and help and support, it's made it much easier.
So I remember seeing a lot about Team Liyna, especially when everybody was encouraging being the match and the entire campaign that was going on. So I know that there was a lot of widespread outreach. So talk to us a little bit about kind of the challenges and also raising awareness and kind of like leading this grassroots activism campaign within the Muslim community.
Yeah, so the initial problem was that Lina was unfortunately diagnosed with an aggressive form of leukemia called acute myeloid leukemia, and her only chance of a cure was a stem cell transplant or a bone marrow transplant. Unfortunately, there was no one on the registry, and they have a registry of 20 or 30 million people. No one on that registry really matched what she needed and matched her specific, cell orientation. And so we had to start this kind of grassroots this movement kind of to get more people on the registry. And specifically, we needed more South Asian people on the registry because there's a much higher chance of matching with the same ethnicity. So, kind of through the help of Lina's friends and some of her cousins, we were able to start this movement, and a lot of it was through social media to get more people on the registry.
Yeah, and I've worked at the American Red Cross in the past, primarily as a fundraiser, but when we were doing initiatives for blood drives, and they would talk about diseases that affect certain communities or members, there's a lot higher percentage of effectiveness of collecting blood from the same community. So I would imagine it's kind of the similar thing for transplant donor registrations and blood diseases and bone marrow registry. So in terms of like reaching out to the South Asian community, how many, do you remember how many people you guys ended up having added to the registry?
So we added, through the efforts of all the people that were involved, we added about 12,000 people to the registry. And, it was an amazing movement, and we actually broke the registry website a couple times because so many people were signing up. And it kind of goes to show you how quickly, how social media can really be used for good, because most of our efforts were through social media. And so, it can show you how like a little, you plant one seed, and if it affects the right people, it can spread throughout the community. And I think that's something that as a Muslim community we can take advantage of, especially for fundraising and for donating, and especially for healthcare related efforts.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that the family recently held its first fundraising drive to honor Lina and her first birthday since her passing. So tell us a little bit more about that, the StoryCorps and Muslim Voices, the Anwar collection, and the work that is being done in her memory.
Right. So Lina was a journalist, and she worked for a company in Brooklyn called StoryCorps, which is they run a radio show that's nationally broadcast on NPR that kind of highlights the stories of underserved and undervalued people and kind of brings them to the forefront so we can kind of learn from their stories. And Lina worked there for about 4 years. And they were kind of instrumental in helping us. They were one of the big organizations that helped us with that movement to get more people on the registry because all the employees and her boss were very close to her. So they wanted to help find a match for her. And so, despite all their efforts, we didn't find a match, but we did find a lot. We put 12,000 people on the registry, and so what we wanted to do for StoryCorps was to kind of help them, not only because Lina was an employee there and really enjoyed her time while she worked there, but also because they started this collection of stories. They called it the Anwar collection of Muslim voices, and so what they're planning on doing, what they've already started doing is kind of collecting the stories of undervalued and Muslim stories that you don't hear of often, kind of collecting them into a group of stories that they're actually gonna store at the Library of Congress, so it'll be there forever. And in that way, kind of continue the legacy of what Lina really believed in, and that is kind of sharing and making other people feel very important.
Yeah, what a powerful legacy. So you work as a physician, correct?
You broke up. Physician, yeah. Is that what you asked? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. So I was asking if you work as a physician.
Yes, yes, I do. I'm an otolaryngologist, ENT.
Gotcha. So for just trying to break it down for some of our listeners, can you share more on, um, the different types of blood cancers and diseases and how blood stem cell, or bone marrow transplants help people recover or just try to um, get help through this process?
Right. So, I'm not a expert in blood cancers. I've kind of become one in acute myeloid leukemia, which is the one that Lina had. There's several types of leukemia, but the AML, which is acute myeloid leukemia, is one of the acute and more aggressive forms of it. And essentially, what we think happens is that your bone marrow, which is where your blood cells are made, there's a cancer cell that pops up there and starts to produce a lot of abnormal blood cells. And as those kind of overrun your body, that can be very dangerous to your organs. And so, the treatment is generally, chemotherapy can help to kind of destroy those blood cells, and it's very aggressive chemotherapy. And that's usually the initial step. They try to kind of kill all the cancer cells with chemotherapy, but um, a lot of it kind of depends on the genetic makeup of the cancer. And so sometimes chemo doesn't do the trick. And for those patients, a bone marrow transplant, or which is also known as a stem cell transplant, is kind of the only chance at a cure. And in that case, what they do is they take the stem cells or the bone marrow from a donor, and they kind of implant it or give it to the patient who has the leukemia. And the hope is that that patient's that donor's bone marrow and blood cells kind of replace the cancerous cells, and then that way kind of give that patient another shot at life. And so that's what we kind of tried to do with Lina exactly.
And I was reading through the nomination that through the registrations that you guys were able to find matches for some more people. So although Lina wasn't able to have a match, there's still incredible work being done to provide an opportunity for other patients. And I would imagine that they're grateful to this effort, that you were able to kind of curate and help collect all these people in the match system. And it's great to see that, this is part of her legacy as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So we know of at least 5 people who have received a donation directly through the efforts of Team Liyna. So and I think we knew about 4 of them before Liyna passed away, and that was one of her. That was one of the things that really she was really ecstatic about, knowing that through the efforts of Team Liyna and the inspiration that she provided, she was able to. And Team Liyna themselves and all the people that were part of it were able to kind of potentially save the lives of those 5 people. We weren't able to find a match for Liyna, but for the sake of other people, I think it's been great.
Definitely. And it's so simple. The Be the Match, like they send you the swab in the mail. You just, quickly swab it, you put it back in, you send it, you're added to the registry. So it's a really simple thing that everyone should try to be part of so that they can help other people. I wanted to also mention, go ahead.
Right. Go ahead. Sorry. No, yeah, I just want to reiterate, becoming part of the registry is
Right.
so easy. You just do a swab and you send it in and you're on the registry, and that's all it takes. And from that, you could, potentially get called up to save someone's life. So if there's one takeaway from this, I just want to emphasize everyone should get on that registry, Muslims especially, because we're in dire need of Muslims and South Asians and Arabs, and all minorities are very underrepresented on the registry.
Definitely. And these are diseases that affect everyone. So it's a lot easier to go to a pool of applicants that, again, have that similar genetic makeup, that can be more closely aligned and help someone out. So I wanted to bring to light some of the other work. I know, we talked about the StoryCorps for the Anwar collection of Muslim voices that'll be in the Library of Congress. And your family and Team Liyna raised funds specifically for that initiative, in the tune of close to $10,000, and then also an additional $10,000 for, was it Be the Match specifically, or just helping with the registries overall?
Yeah, it was for an organization called DKMS. The other portion of that
Okay.
fundraiser was for DKMS, which is kind of very similar to Be the Match, and in terms of getting people on the registry. But DKMS was a little bit more focused on minorities, and they had more avenues to get towards minorities, which is why we selected that group specifically. But the important thing to know is that regardless of which organization you choose to donate to, it all goes into one registry. So there's just
Right.
one national, actually international registry where everyone gets put into, regardless of how or who you donate
Yeah. Well, congratulations again on the nomination, and looking forward to seeing how your family continues to do more projects as a Sadaqa Jariyah, as a perpetual charity in Liyna's name. And, we're looking forward to hosting you and your family at our annual symposium on November 14th. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, Abbas.
to. Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. We're very excited to be there for this symposium virtually.
Yeah, great. Thank you.